A history of spaghetti westerns today via reading of the Free Encyclopedia. Obviously, you can go there and read it yourself, or you could listen to me read it out to a sped up version of Antonio Margheriti's 1967 picture Dynamite Joe. This will not be all of the information available to me on this page. It shall be continued at another date, I believe, yes. The spaghetti western is a broad subgenre of western films produced in Europe. It emerged in the mid-1960s in the wake of Sergio Leone's filmmaking style and international box office success. The term was used by foreign critics because most of these westerns were produced and directed by Italians. Leone's films and other core spaghetti westerns are often described as having eschewed, criticized, or even demythologized many of the conventions of traditional US westerns. This was partly intentional and partly the context of a different cultural background. According to veteran spaghetti western actor Aldo Sambrell, the phrase spaghetti western was coined by Spanish journalist Alfonso Sanchez in reference to the Italian food spaghetti. Spaghetti westerns are also known as Italian westerns, or primarily in Japan, macaroni westerns. In Italy, the genre is typically referred to as Western all'Italiana, Italian-style Western. Italo-Western is also used, especially in Germany. The term Euro-Westerns has been used to broadly refer to all non-Italian Western movies from Europe, including the West German Winnetou films or the Eastern Bloc Red Western films. Paella Western has been used to refer to Western films produced in Spain, taking its name from the Spanish rice dish. The Japanese film Tampopo was promoted as a ramen Western. The majority of the films in the spaghetti western genre were actually international co-productions between Italy and Spain, and sometimes France, West Germany, Britain, Portugal, Greece, Israel, Yugoslavia, or the United States. Over 600 European westerns were made between 1960 and 1978. These movies were originally released in Italian or with Italian dubbing, but as most of the films featured multilingual casts and sound was post-synced, most Western all'Italiana do not have an official dominant language. The typical spaghetti western team is made up of an Italian director, Italo-Spanish technical staff, and a cast of Italian, Spanish, and sometimes West German and American actors. Most spaghetti westerns filmed between 1964 and 1978 were made on low budgets and shot at Cinecittà Studios and various locations around southern Italy and Spain. Most of the stories take place in the dry landscapes of the American Southwest and northern Mexico. Hence, common filming locations were the Tabernas Desert and the Cabo de Gata Nijar Natural Park, an area of volcanic origin known for its wide sandy beaches, both of which are in the province of Almeria in southeastern Spain. Some sets and studios built for spaghetti western survive as theme parks, such as Texas Hollywood, Mini Hollywood, and Western Leone, and continue to be used as film sets. Other filming locations used were in central and southern Italy, such as the parks of Valle d'Altrea, between Rome and Viterbo, the area of Camposeco, next to Camerata Nuovo, characterized by a karst topography, hills around Castelluccio, the area around the Gran Sasso mountain, and the Tivoli's quarries and Sardinia. God's Gun was filmed in Israel. European westerns are as old as filmmaking itself. The Lumiere brothers had their first public screenings of films in 1995, but already in 1896 Gabriel Veyer shot Repas Indian Banquet for them. Joe Hamman starred as Arizona Bill in films made in the French horse country of Camargue, 1911 to 1912. In Italy, the American West as a dramatic setting for spectacles goes back at least as far as Giacomo Puccini's 1910 opera La Fanciulla del West, The Girl of the West, which is sometimes considered to be the first spaghetti western. The first western movie made in Italy was La Voce sul Sangue, produced by Turin's film studio Itala Film, 1910. In 1913 appeared La Vampira Indiana, a combination of western and vampire film. It was directed by Vincenzo Leone, father of Sergio Leone, and starred his mother, Bais Walaran, in the title role as Indian Princess Fatale. The Italians also made Wild Bill Hickok films, while the Germans released backwoods westerns featuring Bela Lugosi's Uncas. Of the western-related European films before 1964, the one attracting most attention is probably Louis Trenca's Der Kaiser von Kalifornien, 1936, about John Sutter. Another Italian western was Girl of the Golden West, 1942. The film's title alludes to the opera The Girl of the Golden West by Giacomo Puccini, but it is not an adaptation of it. It was one of only a handful of westerns to be made during the silent film and fascist Italy eras. Forerunners of the genre was also Giorgio Ferroni's Il Fanciullo del West, The Boy in the West, 1943, and Fernando Cerccio's Il Bandolero Stanco, 1952, starring respectively Ennio Macario and Renato Rascal. After the Second World War, there were scattered European uses of Western settings, mostly for comedy or musical comedy. A cycle of Western comedies was initiated in 1959 with La Scherifa and Il Terror del Oklahoma, followed by other films starring comedy specialists like Walter Chiari, Ugo Tognazzi, Raimondo Vianello, or Fernandel. An Italian critic has compared these comedies to American Bob Hope vehicles. The first American-British Western filmed in Spain was The Sheriff of Fractured Jaw, 1958, directed by Raoul Walsh. It was followed in 1961 by Savage Guns, a British-Spanish Western, again filmed in Spain. This marked the beginning of Spain as a suitable film shooting location for any kind of European Western. In 1961, an Italian company co-produced the French Taste of Violence with a Mexican Revolution theme. In 1963, three non-comedy Italo-Spanish westerns were produced, Gunfight at Red Sands, Implacable Free, and Gunfight at High Noon. In 1965, Bruno Bozzetto released his traditionally animated feature film West End Soda, a western parody with a marked spaghetti western theme, despite having been released a year after Sergio Leone's seminal spaghetti western A Fistful of Dollars. Development of West End Soda actually began a year earlier than Fistfuls and lasted longer, mainly because of the use of more time-demanding animation over regular acting. For this reason, Bozzetto himself claims to have invented the spaghetti western genre. Since there is no real consensus about where to draw the exact line between spaghetti westerns and other Euro westerns, or other westerns in general, one cannot say which one of the films mentioned so far was the first spaghetti western. However, 1964 saw the breakthrough of this genre, with more than 20 productions or co-productions from Italian companies, and more than half a dozen westerns by Spanish or Spanish/American companies. Furthermore, by far the most commercially successful of this lot was Sergio Leone's A Fistful of Dollars. It was the innovations in cinematic style, music, acting, and story of Leone's first western that decided that spaghetti westerns became a distinct subgenre, and not just a number of films looking like American westerns.